Hello, this is Mona from Mona King Creative Design Studio. It's my privilege to interview Steve and Ian. So do you want to introduce your business quickly?
Yes, certainly. Good morning, Mona. And as I said a moment or so ago, please forgive my appearance. I was on a webinar in Hong Kong between 3 and 5 this morning. That's why I'm looking a little disheveled and tired.
Yeah,
but very briefly, Steve and I have two commercial interests, George Wicks Limited and the Effective Communication Group. George Wicks Limited constitutes a platform of investment and commercial opportunities in the professional football sector across the globe and several additional professional sports sectors. An investment opportunity would be a high net worth overseas investor, perhaps wanting to buy a stake in a professional football club in England, in the Premier League, for example. A commercial opportunity would be a sponsorship of a club, maybe appearing on the front of the shirt or the stadium. And the Effective Communication Group executes a very similar function, but this is a platform of commercial and investment opportunities in any other sector beyond professional football and sport. So the global retail sector is an arena in which we've enjoyed a lot of success. Hotel sector, finance sector, a whole series of professional services sectors. We, via an existing extensive contacts, we put deals together, and we've been doing this now for pushing a couple of decades, and we're quite proud of some of the successes we've had. Yes,
cool. And I know you and Steve are quite busy recently. It's very inspiring to hear that, because most of SMEs are struggling, including myself. So do you want to talk about your current project now?
We're only busy because I get on webinars between 3 and 5 in the morning. That's the reason we're busy.
Well, we're actually taking our business in a slightly different direction, aren't we?
Yes.
We have operated over the years in quite a traditional way, and our business model has been all about meeting people face to face, and the service we've provided over the years has been what we would call a done for you service. In other words, people would pay us to open the doors for them. So we open these doors and introduce them to the decision makers, their dream clients. And so we do it for them. But what we've now started to do, and to be honest, the coronavirus lockdown has sort of focused our attention on it even more, but we've been planning on doing this for some time. Lots of people over the years have asked us, how do you do what you do? What's the secret?
Yeah.
And we figured now may be a good time to actually share that with people. And we're now in the process of developing an online education program where people can learn to do what we do.
Yeah.
So they can do it for themselves.
Wow, that's good.
And that's what's been taking a lot of our time, in recent days and weeks. So that'll be launching fairly soon.
Yeah, sure. Please give me a shout.
We will.
It's such a good news. Well done.
We'll give you a good introductory rate.
Yeah. And also, because I know you got good relationship with the sport industry, and the sport industry is one of your main target audience. So do you want to talk about your story with the sport industry?
Yes. Do you mean the reason that became a sector in which we focus? Well, I suppose from childhood, Mona, both of us played sport to a reasonable standard. Volleyball was a sport that we both played. We had representative honours.
Yeah.
both of us, and we played football to a very good standard. So I think sport has been in the family. Our father was a very good football player. I actually went on to university and studied sports studies at Carnegie College of Physical Education. But these were all in the days, of course, when I was young and slim. Now, neither of those credentials are necessarily the case anymore.
You are still young.
I'm still 32.
Yeah, you are only 32. You are very young.
Correct.
Yeah.
My son is 29, but I'm still 32.
Yeah.
How did that happen? So I suppose a childhood interest in sport. I then went to university, and we've now developed it into a business interest. So even though I might not be young and slim anymore, Steve's not young, but he's very slim. It just gives us an opportunity to pursue that passion from the standpoint of our career as well. And it's arguably the professional football sector in England, Mona, is, well, I say arguably, I would say indisputably, it's the most lucrative commercial sports sector in the world. Coronavirus has affected everything, but hopefully Boris will make his announcement, I was going to say tomorrow on Sunday, and some of the lockdown measures will start to be eased, hopefully, and the world will start to emerge. And I think that, you know, the economies over the next 2 or 3 quarters will clearly improve, and it'll take a while to recover from the economic impact of this pandemic. And even though the professional football sector will have been affected because they'll now have to play games behind closed doors with no spectators, and although that severely almost eliminates the issue of spectacle, because it's the crowd reacting to goals being scored that generate the atmosphere. From a sponsor's standpoint, whether it's a stadium of 30,000 people, 40,000, 60,000, Old Trafford 75,000, that volume of people inside the stadium is of far less importance to them than I think on average, a weekend audience for the Premier League can be 1.2 billion.
Whoa.
That's the audience that they're keen on. But of course, television playing in front of empty stadiums, when they score a goal, it'll be, you can't hear anything. But it's the way of the world at the moment. But that's probably the best summary I can give of how we've found ourselves in sport.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Tell us about your business, Mona. How are you doing in these difficult times?
Well, there's still a lot of conversations going on. People are still interested in my business, but it's like when there's any uncertainty, companies normally stop spending on design first.
Is that right? Is that one of the first things that goes, is it?
Yeah, but it's quite important. So I'm thinking to do some workshops just to explain how my creative services can help companies to go through this difficult time. Also, I'm not going to reduce my prices because I don't want to devalue myself, but I can do some quick turnaround and smaller projects. For instance, I can refresh the existing branding and the logo for the companies very quickly. I can do a one-page website, which is a lot cheaper than the full website. But that one-page website can be easily extended to a multiple pages one in the future. So it's quite flexible.
So are you taking on perhaps slightly smaller projects?
Yeah.
So you're still open for business. That's
yes, of course,
that's the message.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I find, Mona, and if you go back to 2008, the global financial crisis, 2001 with the terrible incident on 9/11 in New York City. Now we've got the global pandemic, hopefully coming to an end. But these are 3, events and tragedies that have impacted the world's economies. But irrespective of those, depending on who you're dealing with, there are always people who will use an excuse for not pursuing business initiatives. Well, it's 9/11, you see. Global financial crisis. Pandemic now. Give me a ring next week. There are those people in life.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, man. The coronavirus is an unspeakable tragedy. But in broad terms, I think there are those who will always say, "Can you give me a call next month? Can you give me a call next month?" There'll always be a reason why they won't progress, and part of the I think of the aspiration that all businesses need to address is to find those individuals and those entities who recognize that in hard times, that is actually the time to invest.
Yeah.
Maybe take measured risks, educated risks, but it's the time to do something differently.
Yeah, sure.
So I wouldn't worry about those who are saying they can't afford you, and I think you're right to not reduce your prices. You know, value yourself.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't worry too much. You said you do websites.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Do you do e-commerce sites?
Yes, I do.
You're a talented lady.
Oh, thanks very much. Yes, I am.
And I just heard you mention one-page websites. What about a website that would be considered to be extensive? Maybe. I mean, traditionally people have talked about the navigation pane on a website. You know, the buttons going across the top. But if the website is huge, maybe you wouldn't have a navigation, but you just have a menu. A drop-down menu with this section, this section, this section. Could you do a website that was many pages, 50 pages, 60 pages, 80 pages?
Yes, I can, but in that case, I probably need to work with a developer for a bigger website.
You're a graphic designer, aren't you?
Yeah, but I use WordPress. It's a very powerful tool. There are loads of plugins, so basically a designer can handle standard websites. Yeah, but for more complex function, I need to work with a developer.
Okay,
not
that's interesting.
All trades. I need to focus on what I'm good with. Yeah.
Okay.
It's knowing where your strengths are, isn't it? And also knowing where your weaknesses are. Play to your strengths. And know your value.
Yeah. Thanks very much. Yeah. Also, may I ask you? Okay, carry on.
Sorry, Mary. I was saying your family heritage is in Taiwan. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good memory.
I mean, if if you're looking to boost your revenues, if you can find us a high net worth individual in Taipei who wants to buy a football club, we'll share a good deal with you. That'll boost your coffers. Sorry?
Because my family is not very rich, and I have lived in this country for 16 years. So
what about your family?
Just friends, yeah.
What about your family's next door neighbours? Have they got anything?
We don't live in a good area. We live in a working class area, so it will be hard.
Anyway, it's a thought. It's a thought, but
sure.
No, I'm sure you're a very talented lady, Mona. We've met on a couple of occasions in London.
Yeah, sure.
And as I said earlier, the fact I don't think you should reduce your prices because you have to value yourself in life, don't you?
Yeah.
In life, in business, if you can't value yourself, then you can't really expect anyone else to. So carry on doing the good work. That's what I say.
Well, Mona and I have we've known each other now for a while, haven't we? We've been in the same company at various meetings on a number of occasions. And
before the lockdown, we met almost once a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's hope it's not too long before we can get back to that life, because I don't know about you, but we are missing human interaction.
Yeah, I know.
It's all very well doing Zoom meetings, and to be honest, thank God for them, because it's all we've got at the moment. But
Yeah.
we're very much looking forward to the day when we can go back to
sure.
getting out into the big wide world and meeting people, because we do miss that.
Yeah, so after the lockdown, 3 of us should get together, probably have a lunch or dinner together.
We should.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely, because I know you keep hearing, Mona, about people who say, well, this is the future. Don't need to do meetings anymore. It's all online. Well, I think I'd rather shoot myself.
But I think it's different.
It's awful.
It's different because most of my clients, they love to meet up with me once in a while, work face to face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, keep smiling, Mona, and hopefully we'll.
Nice to see George Michael over your left shoulder.
Yeah. I'm a crazy
Wasn't he?
Michael.
Steve's got a far more educated musical knowledge than I have. Wasn't George Michael a backing singer for Chas and Dave back in the 80s?
How did I know he was going to say that?
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Mona probably isn't familiar with Chas and Dave.
Have you not heard of Chas and Dave?
No.
Oh, Mona.
No, they were huge in their day, but I'm not sure how big they were in Taiwan.
Because Taiwan is very.
They weren't that big in Tottenham, but they're in Taiwan.
American singers and actresses or actors are very famous in Taiwan. But for the English one, probably only major ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You probably know. I mean, because you've met us both before, but even today, you get a sense that Ian and I have a relationship that is based on taking the mickey out of one another a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I think partly that's why it works, because we're actually we're very similar in many ways, but as brothers, we're also different in some ways as well. And I think sometimes it's a combination of those similarities and differences that makes it work. Ian, by his own admission, would be, I think, the maverick of the partnership, and I tend to be the voice of reason.
Maverick and lunatic.
but you know, it works. It works. If we were both the same, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, I know. Because I wouldn't want to work with any of my family members.
Despite the fact that Steve is half my weight, he will always be the short, fat, bald one. But he's half my weight, so how can that be the case?
Yeah.
It's just good fun. It's just good fun.
Yeah.
I always tell people, if I was 6 inches taller and 6 stone heavier, we'd be identical.
Oh dear.
Anyway, it's lovely to chat, Mona, and I'm pleased you're keeping well, and you know, let's hope it's not too much longer before we can all get back together again.
Yes, of course. Okay, stay safe.
All right, Mona.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mona.
Bye.
Take care.